Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we are going to be building a rebel list for Star Wars Legion and trying to come up with something that's a little different than a lot of the lists I've been doing. We're really trying to maximize our range and coverage and also use Djarin without Grogu and see if I can use him in a different way to maybe be a more successful bounty hunter. I think if he doesn't have the child encumbering him and putting him at risk, that he can be more successful in his bounty hunting attempts, and I want a list to back him up with doing that. So hopefully this will be a fun one, and I'm doing some things outside of my comfort zone in this build today, but we'll see how well it works. If you guys are new here to the channel, I want to invite you to subscribe, stick around. We're still got that $25 Amazon gift card giveaway going on right now. If you want to have a chance to enter to win that, you just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. Also, big thanks to our sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. Be sure to head over to luxuryplaystyle.com. Check out these amazing full metal tokens compatible with Star Wars Legion. They also have tons of other game-compatible tokens like tokens for Star Wars X-Wing, Keyforge, Magic the Gathering, etc. You check them out. You're going to use code Crabbok VIP. That's going to save you 15%. Keep that in mind with holiday time rolling around. And also for prize support, they make excellent prize support, so make sure you let your stores know to check this out and let them know about that code as well. All right, so I'm using Tabletop Admiral today, and I'll put a link to this list once we get it finished in the description below. But I want to use Djarin as kind of a sniper. One of the things that I've been doing lately is I've had some difficulty in trying to get short-range units up close to enemy units. Now, I've used some transports to run Black Sun close to the enemies. I've relied on a burst of speed to get like Dooku and Maul close to enemy units. I've used Rebel fleet troopers in the AA5 to try to get them close to other enemy units. And while that works a little bit, it doesn't work if your whole list is short range. It's pretty tough because so many people are using range 4 or higher weapons. And I decided, well, maybe I should really kind of shift some of my thinking to have better coverage, so I don't have to, so I basically can afford to take shots early in the game without having to move myself out in the open, because shorter range units kind of have to, they're in a disadvantageous position to have to kind of move forward. And Djarin is kind of like that. He needs to get close, but if you either have too few activations or you don't have the range, at some point you're gonna have to just move him forward and hope that not too many enemy units have shots on him, and maybe by the time he's there, he may already be dead. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put Djarin as an operative in this list, and I'm gonna give him the Amban rifle, and so this is just a great. It's not even a ranged attack. It's just a double action. You know what? You are going to just put a wound on somebody. All right. It's pretty awesome. There's a really, really good chance that you just get that wound on them. It's like a 6 out of 8 chance, right? So that's great. And we're gonna try and do that. And hopefully that will really help with the bounty hunting, because hopefully I'll have enough like sniping and long range shots to soften people up. So when he gets ready to do this, it doesn't matter if you got dodge tokens, doesn't matter if you got suppression, doesn't matter if you're behind heavy cover. If I can see you at all, boom, you're going down. So I like that, and to help him get into a better position, I'll give him recon intel so he can scout a little bit closer. Now, not giving him anything else. And the reason for this is I want him to stay back the whole time. I want him to snipe the whole time. Theoretically, he'll be using this double action the entire game and maybe nothing else. Of course, he has options. He's got built-in tools if he needs to do more. He'll probably be using independent for dodge 1 most of the game, but if people start closing on him, he'll still have the option to change that around to independent aim 1 and then tactical 1 to go ahead and move and do long shot. He can still get a range 3 shot. With and then turn it into a pierce shot. If he gets a couple of aims in there, he can definitely do that. But I want him to be using the Amban rifle here, and so I want other people to be able to support that sniping kind of list. So I think nobody comes to mind quicker than my good buddy Cassian Andor. And so I think we'll We'll put Cassian Andor as our commander in this list. Of course, he does have the awesome sniper. So the idea here is that I can deploy him, and I can deploy him in the sniper config. He's got infinite range, so he can hang back by Djarin, as a matter of fact. Won't be able to issue Djarin orders, though, which is kind of unfortunate. You know, Djarin's here, but Djarin isn't. He hasn't earned. You know, like, they're not buddies. They don't even know each other. Djarin's not taking orders from Cassian. And Cassian doesn't really trust this helmeted dude anyway. You know, looks too much like a stormtrooper for his likes, and he doesn't know what to think of this shiny Mando that's showing up. So they're going to be a little standoffish with each other. But I do like that weapon. We'll go ahead and give him offensive push in case he does have to move. And then we'll give him Overwatch as well. This is going to be in case people do start closing in. Offensive push. He's got tactical 1 already. He can then move, and all of a sudden, boom, boom. Now I can shoot twice if I need to, especially if I need to reconfigure this pistol. If, hey, the sniping game isn't working anymore. Okay, let me recover, reconfigure this pistol into a range 2 that can then be range 3. It's got Pierce 1. I've got tactical 1. I've got marksman. You know, I've got all of that good stuff. So I can do a lot with that. And you can put some loadout options in there too if you want. I'm not going to do that for him right now. Well, what else are we going to do? I'm going to have some longer range rebels. So I'm going to start off with 2 units of rebel veterans, and they're going to have the CMO 93. That's a range 4 gun. It's 4 white with critical 2. It's not half bad. It's not half bad. If they get issued an order, then they get to also issue an order to the Mark II blaster, which that one's only range 3, but it still can be deployed pretty far forward. It's got Sentinel. It's a great standby unit. I'm not going to go ahead and put the comm guy and HQ uplink and all that stuff in this particular build. I'm going light on points. I want to go high activation count so I can afford to do my heavy hitters late, and I can afford to wait with Djarin if he needs to get that last shot. I can afford to wait for him to the end, and so that's kind of the purpose of this. So I'm going to double up on the Rebel veterans and double up on the Mark IIs. It gives me 4 core, and I'm already at 6 activations, only 449 points. I'm going to drop a Rebel Trooper into the mix as well, and our Rebel Trooper is going to get the what's our long range one? The DLT 20. Yes, there's another great option here. It's got 4 dice, critical 1. Now, while we don't have a whole lot of impact so far, we do have critical, which helps kind of serve a very similar purpose. And this is just a real good attack. This allows you to kind of stay in a defensive position, long outside of enemy firing range, behind heavy cover, and just start taking pot shots at people, putting out suppression. Maybe getting hits on vehicles, maybe taking out small units, maybe some counter sniper fire, as well as softening up the target of your bounty for Djarin. We're also going to add a pike. Well, we'll put some pikes in here. I don't like the pikes, but I got to bite the bullet and give them a shot because they have something similar going on as well. They have the electro whip, and then they have the pie shooter, or the PIE. Or P13, I guess. Yeah, but it looks like it's a pie shooter. So they have the pie gun, and again, that's also range 1 to 4. And then this one has slightly better dice and it's impact 1. So this one is going to be good. With gives us some straight up actual natural impact for our pikes here. And of course, the rest of the units range 3, much like the Rebel Troopers. So the pikes are going to be similar to the Rebel Troopers. So like maybe they're getting their training from the Rebel Troopers, perhaps. And so we've got that. But one of the things that I've learned recently is that you can make pikes a lot better if you also put a pike capo out there. Because they're going to get that free dodge. You can have the capo get his free dodge. He can then aid it over to them. Pikes can start every round with 2 dodges, which is incredible. And if we want to go with vigilance, we can let them keep 1, so then they can potentially start the next round with 3 dodges. Which means they're going to be very hard to kill. Plus, they have outmaneuver, so those 3 dodges can cancel critical results. So if they're behind heavy cover, even 5 dice coming to them won't get through. They're going to cancel 2 hits with heavy cover. They're going to cancel 3 crits with dodge tokens, you need a really massive dice pool to be able to take them out. So they can actually deploy a little bit farther forward of the rebel troopers. You can put these guys a little bit in harm's way. They're kind of expendable, and the capo is going to make that happen. And then, of course, on a turn, if he wants to aim, he can also aid and aim over to them when they're ready to shoot, especially if they have somebody at range 3, so then you can unload the entire dice pool. But another good thing about both this pike unit and the rebel troopers with the DLT-20 is that you can also split fire. So when if you're trying to put out suppression, having multiple guns with big ranges gives you tons of options for putting out suppression as it gets close to the end of the game. Hopefully you limit some enemy units to only one activation and kind of keep that entire aspect going for you. We are up to 9 activations right now. Keeping with the sniper and the long range theme, we are going to put in some strike teams. So let's look at our snipers, Rebel Commandos and Rebel Commando strike teams. We'll put in 2 of those. The Rebel Commando strike team will put in, of course, the sniper, which is going to be range 1 to 5, high velocity pierce 1. That's a black and a white on a unit that already has surge to hit and sharpshooter 1. They're scout 2. They have low profile. They're just a fantastic unit to have. And we'll give them duck and cover to help keep them alive. And I'm going to double that up. That is going to get us 2 of those. And at this point, we have just enough. We're already 11 activations. I want to make this 12 activations. And I toyed around with a list like this of saying, let's put a snow speeder in this list. And while it's possible to make that work, I'd have to drop probably 2 other units. And I didn't think I really wanted to do that. I suppose if you're not a pike player, you could drop your pikes and maybe fit a snow speeder in there at that point. You'd go down to 10 activations, but that's not necessarily bad. That's not bad at all. But in this one, I wanted to stick with up to 12 activations. So I'm going to put my 1 unit in here that doesn't have long range, that maybe goes last, and it's going to be R2-D2. Good old R2-D2 is going into the list, and I'm going to add C-3PO in with him too, because I hardly ever do that. You don't need to add C-3PO, but I like C-3PO. Plus, he can help. He can help give out some suppression. C-3PO's just got a lot of cool stuff with he's got distract, which can be crucial, and then calculate odds is also a really nice ability, and it's going to factor into this. It's going to help. It can help give out dodges. You've got vigilance over here. It's just a really cool aspect. And granted, I think there's room in this list to swap in a snow speeder in place of something. If you want to go with less activations, I think a snow speeder still works good, even at maybe 9 or 10 activations. And then it will allow R2-D2 to do some repairing. But in this case, R2-D2 is in there for secret mission. He is going to be kind of going last, just moving to safety, and we have 12 activations, and we got a lot of long-range firepower. We can afford to just chill and stall and just keep our heavy hitters until the end, and hopefully we get that bounty with Din. If we don't get the bounty, maybe we get secret mission with R2, and so we're gonna and so those 2 extra victory point cards that we've got in our list are going to help us when it comes down to looking at battle plans and what kind of objectives we want. So let's go ahead and look at our battle cards. So I really like Crack Shot with Cassian Andor. That's going to let him do Gunslinger, and he gets him an aim token. He's going to get to fire twice with that infinite range sniper. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. For our other 1 pip, I'm going to go with Blast Off with R2-D2. I think this one is just crucial to help him get the secret mission. So just a really good one there. For 2 pips, I am going to go with Aggression in case I want my pike to be able to issue some orders, or at least be able to use him. This one is one where I can use him as a commander in case Cassian dies. But of course, again, the pike's only going to be able to issue orders to the pike. So what he's going to do here is he is going to issue basically no orders. Then both the capo and the pike unit is going to the syndicate capo, and then the pike foot soldiers are both going to get an aim token, but then the capo can then aid it over to the pikes, and then if the capo goes first, he can then aid another aim over to them, and now all of a sudden your pikes have 3 aim tokens plus any dodges that they already had. And so you can potentially do you can have a real power turn from that pike unit right here, which is a super fun thing to be able to do, especially if you got to shoot an armor and you need a lot of aims to kind of guarantee crits. I've only got impact 1 on that thing, so it can, or if you're splitting fire and want, crits all over the place, or you just have that one, you're trying to take out a core unit, there's a lot you can do with aggression. So, and plus it just gives you a little bit of extra. It gives you a 2-pip that you can actually play and bid in case you lose Cassian. So, I kind of like that. I think it's got its uses. For our other 2-pip, we're going to go with push, which I guess is technically another 2-pip that you can use if you lose all of your commanders. Having some, look, when you're running, it's always a good idea to have some generics, in case you lose your commanders and you don't want to be stuck playing standing orders all day. And with this list, we have a lot of different types of troopers. We got commanders, we got operatives, we got corps, we've got special forces. I don't want to be stuck with like another card that's like, 2 support or heavy only, or 2 special forces only. I might not have range. My commanders, I like the generic cards. The flexibility is very important. And because of that, we're also going to go with assault for a 3-pip. I know what you're thinking right now. You're like, wait, you've got some named characters in there. You got R2, Cassian, and Djarin. Why aren't you using all of their cards? Well, I will be using one. I'm going to go with Volunteer Mission for Cassian Andor. It's going to do some extra danger sense. This will help with R2D2. This will help with the snipers. I can't give Djarin an order with this one, so I wish Cassian had command slot and I could give him underworld connections. This would be really, really good with that. But as of right now, I can't. This also works well with K2S, so if you happen to have him there. But Danger Sense is just a great keyword. Spreading it around is definitely good. And then the option of giving people a suppression token, again, also real nice. It's another way to get, maybe R2 doesn't have a suppression token, needs to get one so that he can be, doing all of his stuff if he wants to be inconspicuous, So there's that. We've got our 2-1s, we've got 2 3s, we got a 2, we got push. And did I not put aggression in here? I didn't add it. There it is. All right, those are our command cards. Now, you're probably asking, why aren't you using Djarin's command cards? Well, all of Djarin's command cards are kind of centered around either him having Grogu or him kind of being close enough to shoot or to perform attacks. And the way I plan to run Djarin in this, although this one is not bad, Whistling Birds is an option. It's definitely an option, right? We could do that instead of assault. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and do that. Let's put that in instead of assault. I guess I don't want to have to use this, but I guess this is a good contingency plan just in case. But because ideally, I want Djarin using the Amban rifle 6 times in 6 turns. I want him just doing nothing but that, and none of these cards help him in that capacity. But Whistling Birds is a good contingency plan just in case he. He gets closed in on, and that can happen. So in case the plan changes, I suppose. All right. So there we go. Those are our command cards. Let's go down to the battle cards, because the battles are, this is where it also gets kind of interesting. So ideally here, I want things that are going to favor me being able to kind of hang back, stay low, have multiple ways to get extra points, and I'm going to go with Sabotage the Moisture Evaporators. This one is usually a 2/2. And so 1 extra victory point gives me the game. Or if I can just, snipe 1 and kind of go slow, the idea is I'm going to probably tie here and then use either Bounty or R2 to win the game. Key positions is not going to be a tie, unless, of course, I lose and I'm able to salvage it, which is also nice. But I think with all the sniping and all the long-range fire, you're going to have a hard time getting to that middle point and holding it. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to do. And I suppose with this one, if I decide to take Djarin on the offensive, I can certainly, pop these Whistling Birds, close to, the threat of Whistling Birds kind of coming in near the center position or near a contested position will be useful. We'll go with intercept the transmissions. This one is oftentimes a tie, and so having an extra point is also going to be helpful. And having coverage, hey, you have to get to the middle of the board. Those could be out in the open, so that is also going to be favor all the sniping coverage that I have. And then I'm going with breakthrough because I have 12 activations, so I have a pretty good chance of. With my snipers kind of covering, anybody who's trying to get through, even if you happen to have like a snow speeder or something that I might have a difficulty bringing down, although I have enough surge to crit and impact to maybe do that. I just have so many activations that I have a good chance of being able to outscore my opponent here. Now, as far as deployments, I'm going to stick with some that I just tend to like. Major offensive, advanced positions, battle lines, and disarray. I like disarray because I can put Djarin all by himself, and I can put everybody else together. I'm not able to issue him orders anyway, so yeah, I have a lot of flexibility with the mercs. I can put the pikes in one corner and everybody else somewhere else, and so there's a lot of that I think is kind of cool. And then for conditions, I'm going to go with hostile environment. I don't think most of the people in my list won't have to move very much. So yeah, I'm hoping the opponent's going to have to come to me. And so hostile environment will work well for that. I'll go with supply drop because this is my favorite condition of all time. Extra goodies for everybody. I'm going to go with minefield so I can protect my snipers. If you want to come in and if you're going to try and charge my units that are kind of locked into their positions, and I want to punish you for trying to do that. And clear conditions, because that one doesn't hurt me at all. There we go. And that's going to do it for the list, guys. I'll put a link to this in the video description below, but I want to hear what you guys think. Let me know, is this maybe too much of the same? What would you drop if you wanted to put like a different kind of heavy hitter? I like the idea of a T-47, or maybe even if we go a little cheaper, like maybe an ATRT or two. The problem is like two ATRTs ends up being the same price or more than T-47, and so it's they're depending on how you load them out. So you're not really saving a whole lot that way, although you can run them naked if you just want units on the board and that are going to be fairly cheap activations. I mean 3 ATRTs with no upgrades at all they're 55 points each. That's that's kind of a steal. It's a pretty good price, but they don't do a whole lot. So yeah, but they also, hey, it's mobile light cover for everybody behind them, so I guess that's something. But yeah, I'm not running them in here. There's just these 12 activations, lots of boots on the ground. Let me know what you guys think. I will talk to you guys soon. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and make sure you game and be excellent when you game, and have a great time. Roll those dice, have fun, be excellent to each other. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this channel possible. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper. So say we all, and goodbye there.